Well, we can return now to our top story, the ceasefire agreement between Israel and Gaza that is due to see the release of the remaining Israeli hostages in exchange for hundreds of Palestinian prisoners on Monday. For some analysis, we can bring in Rafi Jabari, a researcher in Middle Eastern studies. He joins me on set. Good morning, and thank you so much for coming in today.
You're welcome.
Perhaps you could just start with giving us your reaction to what we've been seeing, so far. Do you believe that we're going to get through the first phase of this peace plan without things breaking down?
Certainly, for the first phase, I'm much confident that things will go smoothly. There is, of course, still negotiation in progress on the name of the Palestinian prisoners. But I think they will pass and it will be achieved, the first phase.
Can you talk a bit more about those negotiations, kind of what's being contested in terms of who's getting released?
Actually, Israel is contesting some of the key figures, Palestinian key figures, to be released, like Marwan Barghouti from Fatah, Abdallah Barghouti, Ahmad Saadati from the FPLP. So it's different personality from different Palestinian faction. They are not all of them Hamas. And Israel is trying to show that it's who have the last words on who will be released, actually. This is putting the process at risk, but I think the objective is to end the war, the ceasefire, and this is why the mediators, Turkey, Egypt, and Qatar, are pushing Hamas to accept this phase of the deal. So it's really a very uncertain process, of course, but I think I'm much confident the first phase is fine because they agree on the general outline, which is different from the second and the third phase, which there is a disagreement and there is a misinterpretation of how it will be processed.
Okay, so it sounds like just in this first phase, you think Israel is going to have its way in terms of which prisoners it ends up releasing?
It's very unclear for the moment. There is no clear. Hamas could also try to push for their list, but it's what we have as until today is Israel is putting some veto on key figures, and this is not surprising. But it means that Hamas also could negotiate it during the last hours of the agreement. And this is what I think. In the coming hours, they will negotiate it during the process of releasing the Israelis to negotiate for the names they wanted.
Okay.
But they are globally satisfied because there is almost 2,000 Palestinian prisoner will be released, which is...
And just when Palestinian prisoners are released, where do they go? Because I imagine Israel doesn't just release them back into...
Some of them, they supposed to go to the West Bank, another part to Gaza, and there will be another to the Middle Eastern countries will be hosted in... These details are not yet disclosed, actually, but we have some information coming for some from the West Bank who's going to Gaza. Some prisoner even managed to give the information to their families, which is... Yes.
Yesterday, Hamas called up 7,000 members of its security forces to reassert control over Gaza, and there were already some reports of sort of internal clashes. Yes. Can you explain a bit more about that and sort of what are the power dynamics within Gaza?
Actually, Hamas is running Gaza. No one could contest this. Hamas is the power on Gaza, holding the power, and I would say they keep controlling Gaza. And in any post-conflict area, it is impossible to take over a ruling power immediately because the other option would be a power vacuum. And this is no one wish. We have the Iraqi after Saddam Hussein, and we saw what meant the poll primary decision. It's created a vacuum of security, and this is so all the mediators and all the regional and international actors are aware of this, even Israel, because for the Israelis they want nor Hamas in Gaza nor the Palestinian Authority in the West Bank, and so what they are proposing an international forces. But even an international forces, they they have the veto on how it will run the territories. So it's they want to run the process, so keeping the control, which is in key contradiction of leaving the Palestinians to create their own state. And this is the main contradiction. Israel managed to be against Fatah and against Hamas in the West Bank and in Gaza. And what is the alternative of a Palestinian political forces who would lead to a Palestinian state? Because the end game should be a creation of Palestinian state next to Israel. And this is the main challenges actually for the regional mediator and the international actors. And Europe, who pushed France with the European countries who pushed for the recognition of the Palestinian state, they know that the resolution of this conflict would pass by the end of the occupation, which means the creation of Palestinian state. So they want to force the process. But with the Israeli vision of this, how to run the conflict, how to manage the conflict, it will lead to, at one point, to a crisis because it's in contradiction.
How soon do you think we're going to hit that crisis? I mean, do you think this deal sort of exists to get the first phase done, and then the second that happens, are we going to be, back at fighting, or is it going to take some time? Do you think this peace is going to last at least for a little while after Monday?
I think yes. Israel could not keep running out of the train. They have many opportunities to run out, to go out of the train, and they did it actually many times. But for me, they have to follow the process, because what is the alternative? We saw that in the last 2 years, Gaza is destroyed, 80% of Gaza destroyed, 60,000 and more of Palestinians killed, 100 injured. Everyone for 2 years saw a live broadcasting on Gaza, and Hamas is still there. They did not achieve the objective by military forces. They did not release the hostages by the force. So the only way to advance is diplomacy and politics. And the U.S. coming, actually, they step in to give a way out for the both actors, actually, because both are stuck in this process. Hamas is unable to defend the Palestinian population, and Israel is unable to achieve their objectives. So somehow the political process would give a space for both actors, and there is no such. It's impossible to say one will win and one will lose. Everyone will try to find their advancement actually and their objectives. Israel, for the Israeli government, they have some objectives. And actually, in the plan, the most uncertain part is about the West Bank. There is no word on the West Bank. And this is where it's concerning, actually. For the Gaza part, it seems they have a clear vision to change the situation to a better situation. And I think they will go through. There will be a moment of uncertainty, clashes, but I think the train will advance, and everyone set to advance the train. But the question is the West Bank, because Israel they don't want the Palestinian Authority, and they want to keep the control of the West Bank. Yeah,
so many big questions, but finally, for the first time, a hope of a major breakthrough. Rafi Jabari, I'm sorry, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you again so much for joining us.
Thanks to you for
watching. Stay with us if you can on France 24. More news coming up in just a moment.